In this video, I'm going to go over my ultimate bunny build and why it's one of the best builds to currently use for bosses and farming. The build will primarily focus on trying to optimize ultimate bunny for bosses, but we'll also make sure that we can keep the farming part of her build competitive so that she's still useful for that part of the game as well, and you won't need to socket an entire new character to use for farming. I typically just use my boss and farming tab right now, so this video is going to cover these two parts of the build. Starting with the boss tab, you're going to want high voltage. High voltage changes throw bomb and lightning emission to be much more powerful. While using high voltage, those two skills won't attack as many enemies, but they will have increased range and damage, which is very useful for boss fights. The main skill that we want to focus on for high voltage is lightning emission, and we want to combo that with mid-air maneuvering. While using mid-air maneuvering, you will be able to get a lot of procs off with lightning emission by aiming a skill high in the air and tracking your character as best as you can to stay in the air for as long as you can. And as you come down to the ground, you want to use a powerful weak point weapon like the Python to damage the weak point armor that the boss has equipped. You can also use the thundercage with lots of electric power if it's an electric weak boss, as the thundercage will deal a lot of damage to electric weak bosses. One of the best things about mid-air maneuvering is that you can use it for destroying all of the purple orbs very efficiently and quickly against the obstructor boss. Keep this tip in mind for any similar mechanics. We are also going to use skill simplification to get a 84.5% skill power modifier. This comes with a 25% MP reduction hit, but that really isn't a big issue. You can easily make up for this by equipping a component that gives 100 plus MP and you'll be just fine. The extra damage is worth it to me because I don't find the reduction to MP to be noticeable, especially with a component that gives you extra MP equipped. You will want increased HP and time distribution for more HP, plus a negative 14.3% cooldown. This makes your lightning emission 18.9 seconds instead of 22 seconds, so you will save 3.1 seconds. I also have Electric Specialist equipped for 81.2% extra skill power. Previously, I was using Focus on Electric, which gave 77.2% and a negative 6.1% skill cooldown. While I did enjoy having the extra 1.4 seconds of cooldown added to my already reduced cooldown, I think it's more effective to take the 4% increased damage over the 1.4 seconds additional cooldown for this build. I have Dangerous Ambush, which gives me 24.9% skill power when an enemy is not triggering me, and 49.8% extra skill power when the enemy is immobilized. Believe it or not, but this mod works just as great solo as it does in a public lobby, so I strongly recommend this mod. Since you will be using mid-air maneuvering high above the boss's head a lot, the boss will not be targeting you a lot of the time, solo, and you will be getting the extra DPS off. I tested this mod solo while also testing it against multi-talented, and I seem to be killing bosses faster solo with Dangerous Ambush. You will want to add skill expansion just to give you that much needed extra AoE to make sure you are hitting the boss from a fair distance. Skill expansion gives you the perfect amount of extra range needed to be effective in combat. The rest of the build just focuses on building up critical hit rate and critical damage, so I will add mods like front mines, emergency measures, skill concentration, and skill insight. Moving on to the farming build, I use Electric Condense as this is a useful mod to have on for any elite that spawn. MP Collector so that I can keep my MP up at all times while I am attacking with the 3 ranged AoE mods that I have on. These 3 mods are Skill Expansion, Maximize Range, and Frugal Mindset. The best part of Frugal Mindset is that it also reduces skill cost by 8.5%, which does help when using Speed of Light. Maximize Range will lower skill power by 20%, but this damage reduction is honestly nothing for farming, and we make up for this damage loss with other mods that I will point out now. One of those mods is Dangerous Ambush, which I talked about in the boss setup part of the video. Focus on Electric, which I also talked about in the boss setup part. I chose to use it for farming instead of the Electric Specialist because I like having the extra cooldown, since I don't need the extra 4% damage from the Electric Specialist in this case. And we also have the Electronic Syncytium, which provides critical hit resistance plus 15.1%, and Electric Skill Power plus 10.2%. We also have increased HP and Nimble Fingers for even more skill cooldown. You will also notice for farming that I'm using long distance maneuvering instead of midair that I was using for bosses. And this is because being able to have 2 casts of your grappling hook with an additional 25 meters added to it is much more useful for getting around, so I put midair maneuvering aside for farming and use it only for bosses. Now let's talk about weapons really quickly. You want to build the Python for destroying weak points really quickly, and although my thundercage setup is not complete yet, I am primarily building it to destroy bosses that are weak to electric damage, while also adding critical hit rate and damage mods to it in case I need it for some bosses that have normal or strong lightning resistance and can still be damaged and weakened by electric attacks. Mods that I'm currently using for the Python are Toxic Enhancement, Fire Rate, Action and Reaction, Rifling Reinforcement, Expand Weapon Charge, Weak Point Sight, Real Life Fighter, Have Aiming, Poison Priority, and Deadeye. Mods that I'm currently using for Thundercage are Fire Rate Up, Electric Enhancement, Expand Weapon Charge, Better Insight, Better Concentration, Rifling Reinforcement, and Action and Reaction. That concludes this guide. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you might have learned something, and thank you for liking my videos and supporting the channel in any way that you can. See you maybe in the next one.